He did. Anybody else? What can you tell me about Martin Luther King? He did. That was so sad. What do you know about Martin Luther King?
He lived in the White House.
He sure did. He had a White House. Yeah. That's right. He made it possible for Barack Obama to be the president. Noah, what do you know about Dr. King? Yes, he helped black people to vote. You know, a long time ago, they had some silly laws that said black people couldn't vote, black people couldn't go to whatever school they wanted to. They had even, can you believe they had separate bathrooms for black people and for white people? Isn't that silly? That's ridiculous. Who ever heard of something like that? Well, Dr. King said that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. We need to change that. So he got lots of people together to change some of the laws so that everybody could go where they want to go. And you could go to whatever school you want to go. And you could have friends. You could be friends with whoever you want to be friends with. And that's what Dr. King did. I'm going to read you a little bit of my story so that you can learn a little bit more about Dr. King and some of the other people that changed the laws so that everybody could live together. Okay? Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, I want to tell you, I'm going to read a chapter called My First Protest. Shh. Does anybody know what a protest is?
No.
Thank you. A protest, when you, put it down, when you don't like something, when it's something you disagree with, if they were bad, when there were bad laws, Dr. King said we all need to come together and tell people these are bad laws. So they got together and sometimes they would march, and that was a kind of protest. And sometimes they would go into a restaurant that said no black people. There were restaurants that said no black people could come in the restaurants. And they would go and sit down in there anyway. And that was a protest. So I'm going to read you about a time when I was in a protest, okay? Now Noah, if you're going to sit up here, you have to sit quietly and listen, okay? This is called My First Protest. In our new home in Atlanta, Jim Crow was everywhere. At first, I thought Jim Crow was a big black crow that squawked whenever a black person tried to get a good seat. Caw, caw, you can't sit there. Isn't that silly?
Yeah.
They had some seats that they said black people can't sit in those seats. That's so silly. But really, Jim Crow was a white man who lived a long time ago. And he painted his face black. And he made fun of African Americans. That didn't sound very nice to me. I guess that's why they named the laws after him, because they weren't very nice either. Do you think that would be a nice law that said no black people could come in there?
No.
So, despite Jim Crow, a few restaurants had opened where blacks and whites could eat together. One Sunday, Mama and Daddy decided to see how far things had really come.